Field Trips features real field stories told by real ASCE members. This episode of Field Trips is sponsored by the ISFOG 2020 conference. More info at isfog2020.org.
Hi, I'm Laura Champion, and this is my field trip. Currently, I am the SEI Director at the American Society of Civil Engineers for the Structural Engineering Institute. Before I came to work here, I was a consulting structural engineer and owned my own firm in New England. New England has a lot of old buildings, and we have a lot of renovations and upgrades that have to be done as a consulting engineer. And one of the things that I never really liked about going out and investing in existing buildings was going down in the basement, especially crawl spaces. Usually crawl spaces, no one had been into them for many years. They usually were dirt floors. They had spiders and other larger varmints living in there, and they were all dusty, and you had to crawl in there on your hands and knees and to try to go into underneath to figure out what size the structure was on the floor above. So this is a quick story of one of my most memorable field trips on a project involving a crawl space. I had gone down to this institutional middle school project to look at upgrading their first floor. I had gone down the week before to meet the facilities department. They were on vacation for a couple weeks during spring break, and so they showed me around the building. And then I came back the following week with the areas that I was going to investigate, which included the first floor. And in order to get access to the framing, you had to go into the crawl space. So there was a small trap door with about 16 to about 24 inches of space that was on dirt that you had to crawl into on your stomach to go and see what size the beams and the joists were. Now, I just met the facilities department people just the week before. They were really nice and we were very friendly and got along really well in coordinating the visit. So I go down into the basement to get into the crawl space. They're helping me with the lighting so that I can see better. So I crawl in there and try to, with my rulers, to get and tape measures and levelers to figure out what the size of the beams and the framing are. They kept insisting that I go over to the right, but the beams and everything were straightforward and to the left. And they go, no, there's some stuff over there on the right. Keep going to the right. And I go, okay, so a little bit farther. So I'm moving in, crawling in, and moving to the right, and all of a sudden, there was a skeleton bone hand laying on top of a pipe. And guess what? They got the reaction they wanted out of me. They had done a little bit of a joke on me. They had gone up into the science classroom and taken the human body mannequin that had just the skeleton, taken off the arm, went in and put it into the crawl space across this pipe so that when I crawled in there, that they were going to see me have a reaction. I had no idea that this was going to happen, and it was always a lot of fun. We had a great fun, but I always remember that because they did get the rise out of me of like a little bit of a shout, and luckily it was just the plastic bones and not a real bone. I'm glad to say that I never came across a live skeleton that was from a real human, only just this plastic version. Again, I'm Laura Champion, and this is my field trip.
Field Trips is a production of ASCE and the Geo-Institute.